when we were using, and it took like a solid 5 seconds to start there. We never had any of these problems with XSplit.
No, maybe it's worth the money. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on.
Let's go back to the top. Let's go back to the top.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm just letting her know we're restarting the recording.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's the good thing is we don't have a huge news section.
Yeah, we don't. All right. Starting again in 5, 4, 3, 2. And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? We are on the precipice of the new set. We've got, what, like...
9 days.
9 days from the time of this recording until Madness of Darkmoon Faire. And what? This Thursday, the 12th, is the new progression system's coming out.
And achievements, finally.
Yeah. So this weekend, I've been really pushing Legend hard, because next weekend I want to hit achievements hard, because there's going to be all kinds of new achievements coming out. I don't know how many are going to be retroactive. There's probably going to be lots that aren't.
Yeah.
And I love achievement hunting. I'm really intrigued by this new battle pass system that they're doing, this Tavern Pass, where you gain experience instead of just rewards. So I'll want to spend a lot of time on that. So next weekend's episode is probably going to be talking about our experience with that. But other than that, I've been competing in THL, as I talk about every week. The Wild Series, we've been on a 2-week bye break because we made the playoffs, and the Wild Card Series going this week. So we'll find out who we play in the playoffs tomorrow or today on if you're listening to this on the download. And then the pod people, we made it out of the quarterfinals. We won our first week of playoffs. We upset our opponents, and we are in the semifinals now, tied 8-8. So depending how Ridiculous Hat and Saku do, we may make the finals. And
that would be awesome.
We do know that if we make the finals, we'll be playing against Dad Legends, some big rivals. Shout out to Yellow Dart. Yellow Dart's over there. He won his match on stream last night to put his team into the finals. So hopefully we get to face them. I'm really excited. I love that whole team over there. There are a lot of good guys to play against. I would probably be playing against my Anodon, so big shout out to him. But other than that, just been hitting Legend hard. I've been playing Resurrect Priest. Yeah, it's like 2016 all over again, or
yeah,
18.
Yeah, for those of you listening, he did say Resurrect Priest. I wish to apologize on his behalf. Zerotio likes his degenerate decks, and
let me defend myself, because I was practicing for THL for my match, and was playing other degenerate decks, because I was playing Highlander Paladin, and I was playing Big Warrior, and I was doing really good against the classes my opponent was playing, but I kept playing against classes my opponent wasn't playing, like Rogue and Hunter and Mage, and it was really frustrating me. I fell all the way down to Diamond 10 after getting like the Diamond 6 precipice. So finally, I was like, you know what? Let me try this priest deck that I plan to bring to THL, and it was a Highlander priest, and it wasn't doing well. So I looked up another priest deck. I was like, Resurrect Priest. Let me try this, and it was better than the deck that I was going to bring to THL. So I decided to bring it, but it also beat the rogues and the hunters and the mages, and I went on when I finished playing last night, I was 10-1. And now I think 16-4 with the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 16-4. So it's really good for me right now. I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping to get Legend by the end of tonight if I can help it.
That's awesome.
If we don't have to re-record this episode again.
Get there before the new set launches.
So that's kind of the desire is I want to get there before Madness, the Darkmoon Faire comes out, and so I can then be in Legend and play these crazy decks and not have to worry about trying to make a Diamond 5 to Legend grind in a new meta that's unpredictable, because this set's coming out in the middle of the month. And if I waited, then I would only have like a few days, 2 weeks with the holiday to try to get Legend. And that might be a little far-fetched. So I'm going to push real hard. Really, really excited about this this new set coming out. There's a lot of good cards in it.
Yeah.
How was your week?
So I finished off the duels run that we started on the show last week. If you guys watched, we went 2-1 on the show. So the next match I came up was against a Paladin, and he had gone where we had focused more on the weapon. It's kind of a hybrid between weapon and hero power. He had
getting the big guys out.
He had pretty much focused on small guys that he could bring back with his hero power quickly, and I was dead by turn 6 against him.
Ooh.
So the weapon really would have not helped me because I didn't make it that far. And then in the next match, I played against a mage who was spell damage, direct damage, and it just that game went a little longer. I got out some of my big guys, but it didn't really matter because he just went over the top straight to the face, and I was dead. So, but it was a lot of fun. And then I played a couple more duels over the week, and I played some more Battlegrounds.
This is like the most Hearthstone you've played right before a set.
Well,
usually you're like a bear in hibernation.
Yeah,
right before a set comes
leading
out.
up to an expansion. I was really busy. I've been really busy with work. So some of you know this is a busy time of the year for us in retail. We're heading into the holiday season, and my department, I work in IT, and my department is deploying some new technology right before we shut everything down for the holidays. And so it was busy during the day. During the evenings, I got to play a few games here and there. So I've really been enjoying duels, and I've really been enjoying Battlegrounds. And apparently I'm not the only one. Hearthstone's third quarter earnings call was this past week, and Blizzard overall, across all of their IPs, saw something like 30 million monthly active users. Now, specifically, Hearthstone's total hours played metric is up year over year for the past quarter, meaning this exact same time last year, there are more hours being played in Hearthstone now than there was at that same time last year. And inside that, digging deeper, Battlegrounds specifically has had a strong, sustained player engagement, meaning more people are playing Battlegrounds now than even when they launched it last November. So I think that's really good.
That's big. I mean, the total active Blizzard users from Blizzard games is down by like 8 million.
Yeah.
But the fact that Hearthstone is up and
that's 8 million
Battlegrounds,
over 2 years.
yeah,
2018 to now, they're down about 8 million.
and Battlegrounds and Duels came out, and we have this other mode or this way to play that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, can you believe
that's
it's
gonna
been
come
a
out.
year? Can you believe it's been a year since Battlegrounds debuted last
Yeah,
November?
because it was right after BlizzCon, wasn't it?
It was.
For some reason, I thought it came out in like February.
No, last November, right after BlizzCon, Battlegrounds
Yeah.
dropped.
That's amazing, and I'm really hoping, because obviously Battlegrounds is really hot right now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's free to play.
Yes, it is.
There's not really a monetary gain from the company, so I'm hoping that these tavern passes kind of give some kind of monetary value so that the shareholders see that there is some growth and some financial growth in this mode, and they can put more into it and do more with it. I don't want to see them price gouge things, but at the same time, I want them to make money so that the shareholders give them a reason to put more money into a mode, whether it's Battlegrounds or Duels or this other mode. They've said that in the last, I think it was a Q&A, that in the last video, the reveal video, there is another game, another way to play Hearthstone. I don't think they called it a game mode specifically,
Right.
but another way to play Hearthstone. And we don't know if that's going to be like a constructed way, like we have Standard and Wild. Maybe there's a third format they'll put in, or maybe it's something like Duels and Battlegrounds. We don't know. Maybe there's an Among Us version of Hearthstone. I'd hate that because I don't like that game. But anything new coming into Hearthstone is good for growth. The Hearthstone team at Team 5 and the new leadership with all this attrition we've had over the last, year and a half to 2 years, they've really stepped up, and I'm excited to be in Hearthstone. We've been doing this podcast for 5 years. I played the game for 6 years. This is just, it's healthy right now. I'm loving it. I don't know how you feel about Hearthstone. This is the healthiest I've ever seen. I will play on the ladder, and the meta is so variable that I'll lose and still be enjoying the game.
Yeah. I think we've talked that this is one of the best metas we've seen in constructed, both Standard and Wild. It's very, very kind of diverse. Yeah, there's a lot you can play, a lot you can do, and I think with this new patch that dropped this week on November 5th, patch 18.6.1, we're seeing Team 5 start to kind of do that exact same thing with Battlegrounds and Duels.
Yeah, and we are, like I said, 9 days from a new set. And while the decks aren't necessarily new, they're new to the meta. They're more diverse. I'm playing Resurrect Priest and doing really well with it. And we haven't seen Resurrect Priest really have a predominant feel for like a year now, since last year's meta. I'm seeing people pull out some really unique card designs, card techs in their decks. We're seeing a Galakron Rogue become predominant again. And Galakron Rogue's been kind of gone this whole set. It was good last set, but it just hasn't been good. Yeah. But they've found ways to include some of the newer cards and make it good again. So I'm really excited for week 1 of Madness of Darkmoon Faire, because right now we're still finding diverse card selections in a 5-set meta. I've always said my favorite metas are the 6-set metas, where we have 6 sets to play with. And Madness of Darkmoon Faire, I'm hoping, will not disappoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, am really excited for what Madness at the Darkmoon Faire is bringing to Hearthstone, and I don't do this often. In fact, I think the last time I did this was, I can't remember.
Been a while.
Set. Yeah, it's been a while. August of 2018's set launch. It was the one with all the mechs and the boom bots.
Boomsday Project?
Boomsday Project was the last time I bought both bundles for a set. And I have purchased both bundles for Madness at the Darkmoon Faire. I'm really excited.
I'm on the edge of pulling the trigger. I've gotten the one, and I'm on the edge of pulling the second bundle. And the whole reason is I saw one specific card, which we'll talk about in our reviews this week, and it made me think, wow, if they're putting these type of cards out, if they put one more card like this out and they reveal it, I'm probably going to pull the trigger on the second bundle, because this will be one of my favorite sets to play in.
Yeah. Now this patch was massive, and
you're talking about the patch that just hit.
The patch that just hit
Thursday.
Yeah. I actually called or messaged both Zerotio and Man at Arms and said, guys, there's absolutely no way we'll have enough time in the show to cover everything that's in these
here for 6 hours.
I mean, it's massive.
While I'm sure some of our listeners would love like a 6-hour Hero Power episode, we're in the middle of a review season. Off Curve is going to be doing a huge review. We're reviewing our cards. We're just going to cherry pick a couple changes in patch 18.6.1 that went live on November the 5th and highlight those. Now, the first thing I will want to say is this patch only made changes to duels and Battlegrounds. There were no constructed changes or bug fixes or anything that didn't adjust any of the mechanics outside of duels and Battlegrounds. But the first one that I want to kind of call out is in duels, they changed the Shaman Hero Power, which was 2 mana, summon a basic totem. If you have overloaded mana crystals, also summon a non-basic totem. Now it's being changed to 2 mana, summon a random totem. If you're overloaded, summon a non-basic totem instead. So you won't be able to get 2 totems. Shaman's been really strong in duels because they're doing these Bloodlust builds where they just get lots of small minions and just Bloodlust you to win. And you won't be able to do that now in the same impact. However, one thing I wanted to point out, though, with the Shaman Hero Power is you'll be getting instead you'll get a non-basic totem. And one thing that I did is I went over to playhearthstone.com, went to their card set library. You can sort by current duels cards. And I looked up just totems. There are only 4 non-basic totems in the rotation. I've only ever seen 3 of them, which is Flame Tongue Totem, Manatide Totem, and Trick Totem, which are really strong on their own. Totem Goliath is also in that pool, but I've never seen it summoned, so I don't know if they've got it out of that pool on purpose or if it's just been, I've just never seen it through watching people play and playing it myself. But if you can get Totem Goliath off of it, it's pretty big. I looked at the new sets coming in, Old Gods and Old Gods is coming in, and they have no totems. They have totem synergy cards, but no totems at all. And then the new set, we haven't seen a lot of shaman cards. They'd have to put in a lot of totems to fatten this pool up. So while this is a nerf to that hero power, it might actually still be really good. And then my second thing I wanted to point out was Battlegrounds. They changed Wrathweaver to a 1/3 from a 1/1. And a lot of times in Battlegrounds, if you want to go demons, you get that early Wrathweaver, but you're going to lose a lot of rounds because it's only a 1/1. It doesn't trade evenly. You have to get a demon with it real quick, and you lose a lot of health. And then the Wrathweaver's doing damage to you.
Yeah, because even on turn 2, usually the demon you're pairing it with is the taunt demon that deals 2 damage to you. So you're just taking even more damage.
So you really have a hard time sustaining. But now, is it being a 1/3? I think this is a huge change, and might make demons good now. Because one other thing in this patch is they took elementals completely out of the pool as being guaranteed every run. So now you're going to have even chance of having 2 tribes not in the pool. And it could be elementals, so or could be demons, could be elementals, things like that. So it's going to really change if you don't. Elementals are really predominant right now, but when there's no elementals in the pool, that means you're going to have a higher chance to have more demons from your selections.
Right.
So we'll just have to see. I think if there's not elementals in the battleground run, demons might end up being a top tier tribe to run warband.
Yeah, I could see that.
Especially with Wrathweaver. And if I see demons in the pool and Reno, I'm taking Reno and going for a golden Wrathweaver every time.
Okay. So my two highlights, if you guys watched our duel from last week, during one of our treasures, we got Mr. Bigglesworth. And Zerotio commented, I don't know what good Mr. Bigglesworth would be. He's a one-man, a 1/1. Yeah. And,
I thought maybe you had to pair him with another treasure or something.
Turns out, there's not. So Mr. Bigglesworth has been removed from the treasure pool because he wasn't supposed to be there to begin with.
Yeah, so they at the top of the patch notes it says Mr. Bigglesworth has been removed from the active treasure pool. Dev comment: Mr. Bigglesworth was a very bad kitty and snuck into the pool. He has now been removed and is being dried off. I love that they can call out when they've made mistakes, but also use some tongue in cheek to kind of make it funny and bring some comedy to the situation.
Yeah.
But because he was just a 0-mana 1/1 beast.
No, he's a 1-mana. He's a 1-mana 1/1 beast.
Oh, was he a 1-mana? I thought he was 0 mana. Even worse. So, like I said, I thought maybe he had to be paired. And maybe there was a pairing. Maybe there was Kel'Thuzad Slippers, and if you had both Bigglesworth and Kel'Thuzad Slippers, you got something. Who knows? And they took it out and didn't mean to leave Bigglesworth in. That would be if they T5. If you're hearing this, if you want to put him back in with Kel'Thuzad Slippers, I'm cool with it. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun that they bring light to situations like that.
And then the other one that I wanted to point out is in Battlegrounds, back when they first introduced Rakanishu, I had said that I really liked the idea of his hero power, which is give a random friendly minion stats equal to your tavern tier, because you could really ramp some minions up quickly for 2 gold. If you're at Tavern Tier 4, they're going to get +4/+4. Well, I guess Rakanishu, Zerotio had said, but it's random, so it's not as good as it could be. And that was that. Well, apparently they felt like Rakanishu wasn't getting enough love, and they have updated his tavern lighting to now give a friendly minion stats equal to your tavern tier, and it's a targeted hero power. So now you choose which minions get that +1/+1 or +2/+2 or +3/+3 all the way up to that +6/+6. You get to choose which of your minions get that, and I think that makes it really powerful.
And also one thing to note is he's not directly tied to elementals, so you don't have to have elementals in the pool to get Rakanishu as an option. And I personally think Rakanishu is better with elementals because there's a lot of elementals that benefit from those big stat boosts. But also, Avanties had mentioned before when we were talking about it that with pirates, there's a pirate that reduces the tavern tier. While I don't think pirates as a full tribe would be good with Rakanishu, I think using that specific pirate to buy it, reduce the cost, tavern tier up early, sell the minions so you can buy it again quickly, and you have maybe an elemental kind of synergy going where you're buffing up the wildfire elementals and the ones that have benefit from having large stats. I think it's going to be really good.
See, I personally, unlike Zerotio, I don't think you have to have elementals for it to maximize your effectiveness. I think this would be good with beasts. This would be good with, like you said, other pirates. I think this would be good with demons. Anything you can make bigger. Murlocs? Oh, dear God. Giving Murlocs +6/+6 every turn? That's just crazy.
Cave Hydra?
Yeah. Cave Hydra and beasts. There's a lot of really good targets for this hero power.
Definitely.
So, all right. So that's going to bring us to our Tavern Brawl this week, which is the Brawl of Gaudiness. Gaudy, Zerotio, always. But you never. You look marvelous in that. Choose a class, get a random deck. All cards cost half. You can only play 2 per turn. So I actually did this. I played Shaman, and my very first game, I got a nuts draw on my random deck, and I had all battle cry minions. I played a doppelgangster
Oh
on
man.
like turn 3.
Oh yeah.
And then I played a Shutterwalk on turn
Oh.
4, and just
And then your opponent conceded.
my
on turn
opponent just
5.
conceded, and I was like, all right, well that was easy. I'm gonna try it again, and I ended up clearing all my dailies using Tavern Brawl. I ended up going
Nice.
like winning 3 out of 5 or something like that. It was a lot of fun playing this Tavern Brawl.
This one frustrates me, not because I don't like it. It frustrates me because I love it. And I love it because I love the robe of gaudiness, and they took it out of duels. So they take it out of duels because it's too strong, and then they give us this Tavern Brawl to be like, haha, look what you can't play with anymore. So my favorite treasure has always been Robe of Gaudiness. It was the best run I ever did with Paladin so far in duels, and then they took it out like the next day. Yeah, let's bring Robe of God. I'm hoping that when they come out with the patch on the 17th, that when they add more hero powers and more treasures and things like that to duels, that they bring Robe of Gaudiness back. Maybe it won't be as OP then, because I really, really like that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, as Zerotio has alluded to, we don't have a play portion of the show this week because we are going to be looking at some of these new cards from Madness
at the Darkmoon Faire.
There you go.
Pick it up. So our audio listeners, stick tight. We are going to go ahead and talk about all these cards in the second set of reveals. And we're going to review those. We'll go into as much detail as possible. And our video watchers, then you can go ahead and stick around. We'll have a wonderful slideshow showing all the cards. I'm super excited. There's some really good cards that have been revealed this next set, and then we just have one more batch, and then the set comes out.
Yeah, and let me say, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I was pretty busy this week, so I've not really had a chance to look at these. So for the most part, most of these cards are going to be my first time reaction to seeing them.
Yeah, sit tight. This is going to be fun because there's some really good cards.
Yeah. All right, so starting off with the Demon Hunter, we have a Demon Hunter legendary. It's and I know I'm going to mispronounce this. Go ahead, Zerotio.
Il'gynoth. He's a raid boss in World of Warcraft.
Okay, I am unfamiliar with him. So he's a 4-mana 2/6 with lifesteal. Your lifesteal damages the enemy hero instead of healing you. This is
sick.
Basically, this turns your lifesteal into direct damage.
Yeah, so a lot of people were talking about they don't know if there's enough tools for like a lifesteal, quote unquote, Demon Hunter build. Will it be good? Will it be better than something like Soul Demon Hunter? I say no. You put this in Soul Demon Hunter. You just take one card out, you put this in, and boom, your Warglaives of Azzinoth, which can get up to like 7, 8, 9 attack, and you can preload this. You can play the Warglaives early, and then the next turn you play Il'gynoth, maybe Lapidary, and a Twin Slice. That's 10 mana right there. And all of a sudden you're up to 2, 7, 9 damage of lifesteal damage.
Yeah.
And if you hit your opponent in the face, it's like giving your weapon Wind Fury.
Yeah, because you're going to hit them for 9, and then they're going to take 9 more.
This is sick. I know some people say, well, it's a 2/6 body, that it'll stick around. No, this could be a 2/1, and I would put it in my deck.
Yeah,
because
I think
it is
with
to win the game.
the fact that it has 6 health means it's going to be an automatic target for any removal your opponent has. They're going to have to run, more than likely, they're going to have to run more than one minion into it to get rid of it. So, I
But
mean,
they can't remove it if they're dead.
that's true too. Very true.
I don't.
Too.
I think you literally play this as like a lot of people were talking about with Leroy Jenkins. You're summoning them 2/1/1. Yeah, who cares? They're dead.
Right.
That's the same with Il'gynoth. Il'gynoth is going to be like the Leroy Jenkins of Demon Hunter.
You heard it here first, folks.
And look, its stats are just reversed. Instead of a 6/2, it's a 2/6.
Ew, get off. All right. Moving on, we have a couple of epics for the Demon Hunter. First up, we have a minion, the Stilt Stepper. It's a 3-mana 4/1 battle cry. Draw a card. If you play it this turn, give your hero +4 attack this turn.
I love these conditional formats where if you do this, then this happens. It kind of gives that digital feel to card games that we embrace in Hearthstone. So if you play this and you can play the card you drew, it's like giving Stilt Stepper charge, because you basically do his damage worth of his attack to face.
Yeah, with your face, because your hero is attacking. Yeah,
which is what you do with Demon Hunter, right?
Yeah, I mean,
all your damage
often
on your
than
face
not,
goes to their face anyway.
Yeah, your Demon Hunter's using their face to kill you. So.
I mean, we used to joke about Hunter being smork, taunt is cheat. Well, taunt is cheat with Demon Hunter, so you just play Kane, and now they can't taunt.
Yeah, and it's important to point out that you draw a card, and if you play it this turn, well, a lot of the Demon Hunter's spells are fairly low cost.
Yeah, even the minions. I mean, you could play this late game with Kane, and now all of a sudden Kane swings face because he has charge.
Uh-huh.
And if they have a taunt, it doesn't matter because your 4 face damage can also go face. I mean, this is just a really... We're going to have a hard time, and I'll talk about it more with other cards coming up. We're going to have a hard time finding places for these cards. Now, it helps that Demon Hunter doesn't have a huge pool right now because it's a newer class. It's only came out this year. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have to cut a lot of cards from the Soul Demon Hunter to make room for some of these cards. I think this could go in Soul Demon Hunter.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have an epic Demon Hunter spell. 7 mana, expendable performers. Summon 7 1/1 Illidari with Rush. If they all die this turn, summon 7 more. Now, I did see a tweet about this card. I believe it was from Celestalon, who said, if you have 5 minions on the board and you play this, you're only going to get 2 expendable performers. But then if you use all of your other minions to clear and use the 2 performers last, you'll then get a full board of 7 more Illidari.
Yeah. So it doesn't check to see if 7 Illidari died. It basically, whenever an Illidari dies, it checks to see if you have any more on the board. And if you don't, it then fills your board up with more Illidaris, which are 1/1 rushes. So you can play cards like the I had it up earlier and I forgot it. The 3/1 Demon Hunter card that when a minion dies, it does 3 damage. The Rascal Naga.
Oh, okay.
After a friendly minion dies, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. So you can play Rascal Naga, then play expendable performers, trade in all 6 of them, and each one's going to do 3 damage from the Rascal, and then it will summon 6 more, which you can continue trading. Now, mind you, your opponent has to have a board, and it has to not die off through all the Rascal pings, and it's probably a magical Christmas time, but that's still some heavy trading and clearing that can happen. And I don't know if there's going to be room for it in a deck. It is heavy costed at 7 mana. But, we get cost reductions with Skola Gul'dan and things like that. So maybe it's a one-of in there.
Right.
I know there was a popular Highlander Demon Hunter deck. Maybe this goes in when you're only restricted to one ofs. I don't know.
Okay. All right, next up we have a rare demon minion. It's the Bladed Lady. She's a 6 mana 6/6 with Rush. Costs 1 mana if you have 6 or more attack. Which, we're talking Demon Hunter, it's not that difficult to get 6 attack.
Like I said before, we're gonna have to find room in Soul Demon Hunter because that's the perfect spot for this card. That's where you end up getting, if you get the soul fragment weapon, the 4/2 weapon, and then play a Twin Slice on it.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to attack with it,
right?
So you can have that weapon. This becomes 1. You play it before you even attack. Clear a taunt because it has Rush. Then you can attack face and still be able to play more cards that turn.
Yeah.
This is a really good. Demon Hunter's looking. All the classes are getting some good.
Yeah,
tools, and Demon Hunter looks really nice right now.
And this other minion that we have on this page is a common Demon Hunter minion, the Renowned Performer. It's a 4 mana 3/3 again with Rush and Death Rattle. Summon 2 1/1 assistants with Taunt. So we're seeing that's 3 out of the 6. Is that right? 3 or out of the 5 minions that we've looked at all have Rush on them. I mean,
yeah,
that's just really good for Demon Hunters.
That's what Demon Hunters wanting to do, is they're wanting to have a lot of Rush mechanics. It's funny, Blister guy from Walk to Work, Ray, he kind of commented that, in this magic trick, you usually put 2 people in a box, and when you cut them in half, it's actually 2 people instead of 1 person, and it gives it flavor. I like to pretend that these 2 1/1s you're summoning with Taunt are still just 1 person. Maybe it's the legs and the torso. and I really hope the art represents that, but we'll see. I like to see the darker side of it, but I love the flavor. And this is good because with the Rush minions, sometimes you need a little bit of Taunt in the way.
To do so. For me, it's a 3/3. When it died, you got a 2/2 and a 1/1. One was the legs, one was the torso. That would be hilarious because basically you're cutting the
3, 2,
minion
1,
down. Yeah.
Well, the performer's the 3/3. It's his assistant that's the 1/1.
Gotcha.
Or 2 1/1s.
All right, moving on to Hunter. First up, we have the Hunter.
Let's go ahead and reveal both of these cards because they were both done in one raunchy animation and they work really well together. So read both of them.
Okay, so first up we have the legendary Maxima Blastenheimer. She's a 6 mana 4/4 battle cry. Summon a minion from your deck. It attacks the enemy hero, then dies.
It's huge.
The other minion that you're talking about is a rare mech minion. It is 7 mana 8/5 Darkmoon Tonk. 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 It's a mech. Death Rattle. Fire 4 missiles at random enemies that deal 2 damage each. So if you play Maxima and you draw the Darkmoon Tonk, it's going to do 8 damage to the enemy hero, and then it's going to die and fire 4 missiles at random enemy targets that deal 2 damage each. That's a lot of damage out of 1 minion. So
hear me out here. Hunter and a few other classes, we'll talk about this more and more reveals go on, but each class leans towards an old god. And right now I see Hunter maybe leaning towards N'Zoth because you could put Darkmoon Tonk in a deck, which is a mech with a really good death rattle. You could put Pyro Drake, which is an 8 mana 7/7 that summons a 7-drop, good death rattle. You could put Highmane in, which is a 6 mana 6/5 that summons 2 2/2s. All of those will get resummoned by N'Zoth, as well as all of those have good death rattles and large stats for Maxima Blastenheimer. Now, will that work? Who knows? Because it's a really high curve. But we've seen these kind of high curve decks in Old Gods really do well.
Yeah.
And I think Blastenheimer will add to this. Maybe you even make it some kind of Highlander deck. I don't know. It looks like it has a lot of promise. You really have to build high and heavy with this, or have some really good low costed death rattles, which are hard to find. I don't know. We'll see. But this little duo, I think they're a pair. I think you put one, you put the other.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have a Hunter Epic spell. Don't feed the animals. 2 mana. Give all beasts in your hand +1/+1. Corrupt. Give them +2/+2 instead. So we talked about Corrupt last week. For those of you who might not have listened, anytime you play a spell or anytime you play a card that costs more than the corruptible cards cost. So in this case
3.
Yeah, if you play anything that's 3 or more, this card becomes corrupt. And so for 2 mana, you can give all beasts in your hand +2/+2.
And it stays that way on your hand. You don't have to play it that turn or anything like that.
It's permanently corrupted.
So it's hand buff.
Yes, it is.
And hand buff did not do well in Mean Streets. It hasn't done well any other time. I think in Rosticons, I tried to put some hand buff in for Hunter.
It's done well in Wild. Especially, look at Mike Lowe's mech buff deck.
Well, that's not so much hand buff. It's got a little hand buff, but it's more magnetic. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm not sure in Hunter that it's going to be good. We have more cards to see, of course, but I think right now with the tools, this one gets left out, unfortunately, because the art. I haven't seen the corrupted art, but it's got to look really cool with all these animals.
Yeah. So, all right. Next up, we have a Hunter rare spell. It's Petting Zoo. 3 mana. Summon a 3/3 Strider. Repeat for each secret you control. So, at worst, this is a 3 mana spell that gives you a 3/3 minion. At best,
the animal companion.
Yeah, you could get 3 3/3s or 4 3/3s, depending on how many secrets you have.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the Spellstone, but cheaper.
Yeah.
Because the Spellstone was 5 mana, and every time you played, it upgraded up to a maximum of 4 3/3 minions, where you could get that. You could actually get more than that. It looks like they're giving each class 2 paths. One is kind of towards an old god, and another one is towards a different archetype. And in Hunter's case, it looks like Secret Hunter is going to be that archetype. I really think this might be really good in Wild with Spell Hunter, because they already run the Spellstone. So now you basically have 4 Spellstones.
Yep, that's true.
So I think if that Secret Hunter can be a viable deck, it'll see a lot of play. And I think it can.
Yeah.
So far.
Let's move on to Mage. So, Mage, we got to see a epic minion, the Occult Conjurer. Now, this is a 4 mana, 4/4. Battle Cry. If you control a secret, summon a copy of this. That's
pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're, Mage's secrets are 3 mana. So if you're on curve, you play turn 3, play a secret. Turn 4, play 2 4/4 minions.
And there's a lot of secrets. Actually, on 3, you play the 3 mana 4/3 that gives you a secret for free.
Yeah,
there
you go.
Plays your secret for free. So, I mean, if Secret Mage is viable again, like I said, I think in this case, Yogg-Saron's going to be the old god for Mage. It just seems to gravitate towards playing lots of spells. And then Secret Mage, maybe both.
Shh, don't say that too loud. If you say Secret Mage too loud, you'll summon Mike Lowe.
Yeah, we've learned that. I said all I said was Secret Mage in our Discord. Mike Lowe, who's been like hiatus for like 2 weeks, just appeared out of nowhere. But yeah, I think Secret Mage is going to be strong, and this card is going to make it strong. Now the question is, will you be able to play a secret on turn 3 that doesn't get activated? And there are a lot of good secrets that don't always get activated. Like Ice Barrier, they have no way to attack your face. The Ice Barrier going off. Mirror Entity, maybe they don't play a secret or
A minion.
And then this next secret has an even higher chance of not going off.
Yeah, so there's a new epic mage secret called Rigged Fair Game. It's it's 3 mana. If you didn't take any damage during your opponent's turn, draw 3 cards.
Yeah, so you play this on 3. If they can't activate it, you can't find a way to do a point of damage to your face, you draw 3 cards. If they do, and it doesn't go off, then you can play a Conjurer and summon 2 4/4s. It's like,
yeah,
that's the one bad thing that's been about Secret Mage of recent. People have tried to make Secret Mage over this year in Year of the Phoenix. It just hasn't had the tools, because you could easily figure out which secret it is, play around it, things like this. Well, here, if the original Secret Mage, it punished you if you triggered the secret. It also punished you if you didn't trigger the secret, because it had damage from hand and things like that if they had secrets active. So that's why it was good in its time. This Occult Conjurer and the secret so far that's come out is really evident that I think a Secret Mage can be a viable deck.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I like Secret Mage, and it's probably my favorite way to play Mage.
Yeah. So I was just sitting here reading this next card, and I really like this card. I think this card could be really powerful.
Yes.
So it's a rare mage spell called Ring Toss. 4 mana, discover a secret and cast it. So, all right, a secret costs 3 to play. So this is 4, so it's a little expensive.
You're paying 1 mana to discover a secret,
and then paying 3 mana to play it.
And then you pay 3 to play it. So you're basically getting a secret that's not coming out of your deck.
Right.
So you could actually have a 3rd copy of a secret, or a 4th copy if you find the same 2 secrets with this card, 2 copies of it. So basically, this is a pseudo secret in your deck for 1 extra, paying the premium 1 mana for it. But, and if it's corrupted,
yes.
Go ahead.
Now, if it's corrupted, discover 2 secrets instead,
and play them both.
That's huge.
That's really huge, actually. Because so one thing I've always liked doing is staggering secrets. You play a secret, and then they try to play around it, and they don't activate it, so they've narrowed it down. Then you play another secret.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to go through that whole process again. Then you play another secret. And then they have to go through that whole process again. Well, with Ring Toss, you're making that first attempt. They have to rule out 2 secrets. And it hasn't taken any secrets out of your deck that you can then keep stacking on top. And people say, well, how are you going to win if you just have a lot of secrets? I don't know. Ask Hanar. Because his Rogue secret deck has like no win condition sometimes.
Right.
But Hanar just carries the win because of all the secrets it generates that aren't in your deck.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Oh, I can see Zerotio getting excited. All right, we are at Paladin, and we have the Paladin legendary High Exarch Uriel.
Oh, yeah.
She's 8 mana, 7/5, Battle Cry. If your deck has no neutral cards, gain Rush, Lifesteal, Taunt, and Divine Shield.
It
so
is
this,
a jack. It is.
Go ahead.
It is a jacked up Pure Paladin Zilliax.
Yes, it is carrying on that Pure Paladin theme we saw that so many of you just love. Yeah, we'll go with love. And it is a jacked up Ziliax. That's exactly what it is.
Ziliax hit the gym and got, okay, so aside from the card itself, one of my favorite characters in the World of Warcraft, like, history in the lore is Uriel. Uriel is like the epitome of what a paladin is. She's made tons of sacrifice. She had to see her master die. She was then handed by her ethereal master the kind of the mantle of what to carry on the Draenei paladin way and that kind of stuff. And she is the epitome of what a paladin should be. She, to me, aside from Uther, she is the best paladin representative. And so just that alone, I love this card. This is a day one. If I don't open it in golden, it's being crafted in golden day one. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you. That's just what I'm going to do before I craft anything else. After I open my packs. And this is pure paladin, which is one of my favorite ways to play paladin, is because of all the pure synergies. Now, there are only 2 different cards right now that have pure synergies. And one gives you a weapon, one gives you more paladin cards. And when I say pure, I mean in a deck that has no neutrals. It just has paladin cards. Mm-hmm. So if they add one more card or a couple more cards to solidify the no neutral paladin, then that's what justifies me, spending more on the game, because I really want those cards.
Okay, all right. So let's.
I mean, she's expensive.
She is, but 8 mana.
At that point in the game, 7 heal, and a minion that's in the way, because sure, it's got Rush and Lifesteal, but it also has Divine Shield and Taunt. So that means you're going to get that heal, and then they have to deal with a big taunt that has Lifesteal.
Yep, that they do. All right, moving on. We have a new Paladin weapon. It is an epic, the Hammer of the Naru, 6 mana, 3/3, battle cry. Summon a 6/6 Holy Elemental with Taunt.
So they didn't have to put the word holy on this, and I don't know why they did. Obviously it's an elemental tribe.
Right. But
so I'm wondering if there's going to be more synergies.
I would say, could we be seeing the introduction of Holy, Retribution, and Protection into the Paladin class?
That's what I'm wondering. Maybe they start putting Holy more with these pure Paladin cards. Maybe there's some synergy with Holy cards. Maybe something will draw you Holy, create Holy cards, or I don't know. I don't think they had to put Holy on this card, but the fact that they did makes me think they're going to do something with it, which excites me. And the fact that it's an elemental also excites me, but I'll talk more about that in a couple cards from now.
Okay. Next up, we have a rare minion. It's a 4 mana, 3/5 Balloon Merchant. Battle cry, give your Silver Hand recruits +1 attack and Divine Shield. Oh my gosh, are we seeing a return to the Silver Hand recruit buffs?
I hope so. And this is... So I like that they made it 4, because if they would have made it an odd, then it really would have made Odd Paladin even worse better in WoW, worse to deal with.
Yeah.
I love the kind of analogy he put in this, though. If you notice the balloon that he's handing the young... I say young, he's balding. The small gnome is gold, like the color of Paladin.
Yeah.
And the color of Divine Shields. And it pops very easily. So it's a balloon. So I love the analogy of a balloon to a Divine Shield. That's really
well, I mean,
neat.
They've always been referred to as bubbles. So, I mean,
exactly.
It's not that big of a stretch to go from a bubble to a balloon.
I don't know. So I've said that obviously they steer one direction or the other with their deck suggestions, and I do think they're leaning towards an old god. And I was thinking that pure paladin would be the other direction, and it might be, but maybe what else is pure paladin enough alone, and maybe that's where we get more Silverhand synergies. Hopefully, this isn't the only one.
Right.
We did get a card that summons Silverhand recruits, and this could be played alongside of it.
Yeah, at 4 mana for a 3/5 body, it's not that bad either.
Yeah, and corrupted, that's a 3-man. The card is I think it's like Day at the Fair or something. I can't remember, but it's 3 mana for 5 if it's corrupted. So this gives room on the board to put down a balloon merchant next to it.
Yeah. All right, moving on, we have a common mech minion, the Carousel Griffin. It's a 5 mana 5/5 with Divine Shield. That's not bad. 5 mana 5/5 with Divine Shield, but
it's not great. I mean, a lot of people say it's great, but in the world that we're in Paladin now, 5 mana 5/5 Divine Shield, the pupil is a 5 mana 4/5 with Divine Shield that can get cheaper. Yeah. Or 6 mana 4/5 with Divine Shield.
But if you corrupt this, it gets +3/+3 and taunt. So what about 5 mana for an 8/8 Divine Shield taunt?
Still not good. So on its base, this card, in my opinion, is not great because 5 mana for an 8/8 Divine Shield taunt. Okay. What about Libram of Hope? It's usually 5 mana or cheaper. You can get it down to 3 mana without any crazy shenanigans. And you're getting an 8/8 with Taunt and Divine Shield. So when I first saw this card, I was like, well, it's not great. And it's not even something you'd want to put in Pure Paladin because you can already put the Librams in Pure Paladin anyways. It's not any better than that. And then I realized this is a mech. And when the cards are corrupted, they keep their stats.
Correct.
So the corrupted version is an 8/8 Divine Shield taunt, alongside the Hammer of the Naru, which summons a 6/6 Elemental with taunt. And then I thought, N'Zoth.
Okay. Because the new N'Zoth affects each different type of tribe you have.
It summons a minion from each type that died that game. So your Carousel Griffin is your mech. Your Hammer of Naru gives you your elemental, which both have taunts. So it's very defensive. You already have dragons, lots of good dragons to pick from in Paladin. You have lots of good mechs to pick from, or lots of good Murlocs to pick from in Paladin.
McGurgle.
Not so much in the McGurgle, and McGurgle is the primary one you want to get. Not so much the demons, but pirates. There are some good pirates. You could put Horde Pillager in here to get another Hammer of Naru. Do you really want a 3/3 weapon? I don't know, but there are other pirates you can put in here. Maybe you just want the 3/3 pirate that is cheaper with your weapon because that's another taunt. Right. Again, lots of good taunts that can get resummoned, and they will have those taunts and Divine Shield when they're resummoned. So I think Carousel Griffin is not designed for your Pure Paladin. It is because Libram of Hope, in my opinion, is just a better card because it heals you too. And usually doesn't cost less than 6. But in a N'Zoth style control big beefy Paladin, this is good.
I'm definitely going to probably be trying that out because that sounds like a lot of fun.
That's Paladin is usually my day one testing.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change this time. I will probably spend all of day one testing Paladin.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Priest, we have a legendary, the Nameless one. It's a 4 mana 4/4 battle cry. Choose a minion, become a 4/4 copy of it, then silence it. So it's important to note this is choose a minion. It can target your minions or your opponent's minions. It can become anything that's on the board.
Also, this can be used to silence a big minion that's been frozen.
Yes.
And then attack with it, and then you're a copy of that minion. Sure, you're frozen, but now you have 2 copies of that minion. Maybe it was a death rattle. I don't know. Also, when you become a copy of this, if you copy one of your own and become a copy of it and they both die, they're now in your resurrection pool for mass resurrection.
Yes.
I am reminded of, since I've been playing a lot of Resurrection Priests lately.
Yeah.
So what I love about some of these priest cards in the past, and this is no different, is the versatility. This is kind of like Carl, Cars, we call him Carl, except he's kind of better because you can target your minions or their minions, not just their minions.
Right.
And this silences it. So if they have a really nasty death rattle, well,
it's versatile.
Now you have the nasty death rattle, and they just have a silenced minion.
Right. Yeah, this is a very versatile card because it can do multiple things.
It's a good way to deal with cards that can't be targeted by spells.
Yeah.
Because it becomes that card, but also silence it. So now you can target it with removal spell.
Right. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Rogue, we have a legendary, the Grand Empress Shekzara. Yeah, Shekzara. She's a 6 mana 5/7. Battle cry, discover a card in your deck and draw all copies of it.
So on its face, it doesn't seem that powerful. It's 6 mana 5/7, draw 2 cards, because you can't have more than 2 copies of a card in your deck. And if you haven't drawn it, then you get 2. But if you have drawn a copy of it, then you only get 1. So is it really that good? But then there's cards that shuffle
multiple
cast
copies.
When drawn cards into your deck.
Yeah.
And if you get multiple copies of those cast when drawn cards, it's not only going to draw all of them and cast them when they're drawn, but cast when drawn also draws you a card. So if you have 3 cast when drawn cards, I think we talked about one last week. It was last week we talked about. No, it'll be this week. It'll be the next card we talk about. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide now, and I'll go into that analogy.
All right. So Ticketmaster is a rare minion, 3 mana, 4/3 with a death rattle. Shuffle 3 tickets into your deck. When drawn, summon a 3/3 plush bear.
So Ticketmaster dies. You shuffle 3 tickets into your deck. You then play Shekzara, and Shekzara will draw all 3, which cast when drawn to give you a 3/3 plush bear. And when they're cast when drawn, they draw 3 cards. So for 6 mana, you'll get a 5/7, 3 3/3s, and draw 3 cards.
That's pretty crazy.
That's Magical Christmas time. We don't know if it's ever going to land up like that. And what's great is they're not both battle cries, so you could play Ticketmaster earlier in the game. He dies, and you haven't drawn any of your tickets, and on turn 6, you play Grand Empress Shekzara, and boom, this happens. So this isn't a turn that's like a turn 9 or 10.
This seems more possible than Magical Christmas time. This could happen.
It does. I mean, obviously, it's a perfect scenario that you played this on 3, and then by turn 6, you haven't drawn any tickets, or you maybe only drawn 1. But still, that's still really good, because Shekzara is going to give you those minions, and then
draw you
all
cards.
of those will make you draw a card.
Yeah,
and that works that way for any cast.
And I mean, worst case, maybe with Shekzara is, you play her and you get what's the 2 mana combo card? Deal 4 damage.
Eviscerate.
You draw 2 eviscerates and do 8 damage to face on turn
Obviously,
10.
There's other scenarios that are useful too, and it's a discover, so you're not guaranteed to find the card that you want.
Right.
I mean, there is a lot of variability in it, but you could get the what's the wax dragon? The Waxagon or wax?
Waxadread.
Waxadread. You could get if you get Waxadread shuffled in there, you could summon Waxadread and it'll draw you a card. If you get multiple Waxadreads in there, you could get a bunch of Waxadreads. Again, there's a lot of really neat combo scenarios, but on its face, it's still not a bad card.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's 6 mana, 5/7, draw 2 cards.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have a rare pirate minion, the Prize Plunderer. It's a 1 mana, 2/1 combo. Deal 1 damage to a minion for each other minion you've played this turn.
Each other card you've played.
Oh, each other card you've played this turn. So yeah. Yeah, if you can organize your turn to where you play a bunch of cards, shuffle, return, play, then you could play this and deal 4, 5, 6 damage to a minion.
We've seen this effect before, but it wasn't good. It was on a 6-mana minion, and it could go face. So it can't go face anymore, but it's on a 1-mana minion, and so this is just damage.
I almost look at this as targeted removal.
And it's a pirate, so if there's pirate synergies in your rogue deck, there's that. So this is a good spot 1 damage removal that relies on combo, which you already are usually doing in a tempo rogue anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad card. I don't think it's great. And somebody's going to have to figure out the best way to put it in there. Yeah. But yeah, it's not bad.
Okay. Moving on to Warlock.
Oh, you'll be excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these. So first up, we have a epic minion, the Revenant Rascal. 3 mana, 3/3, battle cry, destroy a mana crystal for both players.
Where can you see a home for this?
I mean, I could see this played in Zoo.
Yeah, I mean, usually your mana curve's not much over 3 anyways.
Right, but even let's say you go first. Turn 1, you play a 1-cost minion. Turn 2, their turn. So you go first, you play a 1-cost minion. Their turn 1. Your turn 2, you hero power. Their turn 2, they play something or hero power. Your turn 3. You play Revenant Rascal, you go back to 2 mana, they go back to 1 mana. Their turn 3, they gain a mana crystal. They're still stuck at turn 2. Your turn 3, you're back again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's strong. Again, it depends on obviously you don't want to put a lot of high-cost cards in your deck.
Right.
And that's been the criticism of, well, then you're slowing yourself down. Yeah, but if your max card deck is like 4 or 5 cost, does it really matter?
No, not at all. And
this
especially
if
you're going first and you get this early, that can be a huge tempo swing for you, sending them back to 2 mana on their 3rd turn.
That's true. I like it.
I like it a lot.
I kind of wish it was a demon.
I was going to say, it's not a tribe, so you don't get those synergies. But
yeah, I kind of wish. I mean, Revenants aren't demons. They're more akin to elementals in a way. They're void energy. But so, I mean, it meets the theme, right? But there's no way to get more of them or cheat them out or anything like that.
Right.
Or make extra copies.
So speaking of demons. Yeah, speaking of demons, next up we have a rare demon, the Fire Breather. It's a 4 mana, 4/3, battle cry, deal 2 damage to all minions except demons.
So if I go to a carnival and the Fire Breather breathes a green flame with a skull in it, I'm leaving. I'm not even asking for a refund. I'm just leaving.
This does have some really good artwork on this
card.
The
artwork on this is amazing. She's breathing basically a fellfire. She's holding a regular torch in one hand, but she's breathing like fellfire. It's great. So we've seen this effect in a Murloc before at 6 mana.
Uh-huh.
So this is the same effect for 2 mana less on a better body. It was a 6 mana 2/3 that did this for any non-Murlocs. And now it's a 4 mana 4/3 that does damage to anything except for demons. Now, a lot of other classes don't have demons. And so if you're playing against an aggressive beast or aggressive Murloc strategy or anything aggressive that's not demons, this could really wreck their world.
Yeah, it could.
I know right now with Face Hunter, they're playing lots of Wolpertingers and lots of 3/2s and lots of low cost minions, and they go wide very fast by like turn 3, turn 4. Well, you play this, and they got to start over.
Right. Speaking of Zoolock, we have a Warlock rare spell called Wicked Whispers. 1 mana, discard your lowest cost card, give your minions +1/+1. I mean, this could really help you put the foot on the gas and accelerate out to an early lead.
Yeah, there is a 2 mana Bone Web Egg. 2 mana 0/2. That's from this last set, Skullomance, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Some Death Rattle summon 2/2/1 spiders. If you discard this, trigger this.
Yes.
So if you have Wicked Whispers and then the Bone Web Egg in your hand, and the Bone Web Egg's the lowest cost, or even tied for it and gets picked, it will summon 2/2/1s and then give them +1/+1.
Yeah.
Because if the wording's right, usually the period in the text gives time for anything else to resolve. So you would discard your lowest cost card, period. That discards Bone Web Egg. Bone Web Egg's Death Rattle goes off. Then give your minions +1/+1. Therefore, you will have 2 3/2s on turn 1. Again, Magical Christmas time, but in a deck that's designed, a zoo deck that has Wicked Whispers, maybe some Bone Web Eggs, some ways to buff your minions or destroy your own minions. Maybe you have Fire Breather in there so that it's a non-demon, so it destroys it because it's a 0/2, and then summons 2/2/1s. And then you also have Revenant Rascal. I don't see which direction the old god's going in yet with this deck, which so far most of the classes have been real evident which old god they want to go in direction of.
Yeah.
But we're clearly seeing what other direction they want Warlock to go in, and that's a very aggressive zoo deck that has a lot of sustain and board clears. Right. And that's going to be exciting. I love Zoo. Zoo was the second class I got golden with, was Warlock, and I used Zoo. Paladin being the first with Shakaden.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Warrior. Oh, yeah. We have a new Warrior Legendary and a new version of the Elite Tauren Chieftain.
Yes.
The ETC God of Metal. So he is a 2 mana 1/4. After a friendly rush minion attacks, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero.
This is amazing. At 2 mana, you have lots of mana throughout the rest of your turn. Your rest of the turn, if you do this later in the game.
Yeah.
To play rush minions. The Mummy creates another rush minion. That's 2 minions that will clear the board and then do 2 damage. This is like the heavy metal Axe Flinger. Remember Axe Flinger?
I do.
Every time
it
took damage, it did 2 damage to the face. But this is like the metal version. Now, Regis Kilman pointed out on this, which is really interesting. The card art is sideways.
Okay.
ETC is sideways, and he's like over some drums.
Yeah.
So either they got the art wrong, which I doubt, because the drums seem right, but ETC is like it's like he's diving over them. So maybe this is a stage dive.
Maybe.
But also, maybe this is like cover art for an album, and there's other band members that we're going to see.
Oh, that would be cool.
And when you put all the art together, it's almost like an album cover art, you know.
That would
what
be,
I'm talking like that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
So I like to say maybe he's stage diving because it looks like he has his hammer in his hand and he's jumping over the drums. Because he's coming from the left side of the art. So I love the flavor in ETC, and I love the original ETC card anyways, but he summoned lots of stuff and lots of different cards. So maybe we're going to get that flavor with Warrior. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So, all right. We also have another legendary warrior minion, Ringmaster Watley. Waitley. Yeah, I would say Watley.
Watley.
It's a 5-mana 3/5 battle cry, draw a mech, dragon, and pirate. So it sounds like this card, like we've been talking with some of the other classes, it's kind of set up for N'Zoth to bring back multiple.
From what I've seen, N'Zoth lines up with Paladin, Hunter, and Warrior. Those are the 3 classes so far I've seen that gravitate towards N'Zoth. Obviously, they're all neutrals. You could put any of the old gods in any of the classes. I'm not saying they can't be played. What I'm saying is the class is designed to go towards one god or the other, which is going to be interesting to see which ones go towards Yashar, Yogg-Saron, and Cthulhu. But right now, I see Warrior heading that direction, and Watley's perfect. Plus, in the card art, he's literally just throwing candy in the air.
Yeah.
You gotta love a guy who's just tossing candy around willy-nilly.
Right.
But the fact that you're going to build a deck that has mechs, dragons, and pirates, and there's already some good synergy with dragons and pirates in Warrior, and mech isn't bad. And we've seen mech synergy in the past, but not in this current meta. So,
right.
Given the right tools, which I think we'll see more of in this set, I think Watley's going to be a really good legendary to have. And then 5-mana 3/5. Basically, he's 5 mana to draw 3 cards, and then summon a 3/5. So if you value 3 cards as somewhere between 3 and 4 mana, then he's really undervalued for 1 to 2 mana for a 3/5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really good.
All right. Moving on. We have a new warrior weapon. It's an epic, the Ringmaster's Baton.
Yeah, and the art is the same baton that Watley has in his art.
Okay.
So it's the same thing.
It's a 2-mana weapon, 1 attack, 3 durability. After your hero attacks, give a mech, dragon, and pirate in your hand +1/+1. So again, it's hand buff.
It's hand buff, but it's a little more spread out hand buff. And from what we've learned with Warrior, if you give the right minion stats, then it's really going to go a long way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
especially if you get it early.
In stats.
Yeah.
Again, early game, you're probably not going to get 3/3 in stats, but if you can play it after you've played a Watley,
right,
then
you
can likely get +3/+3. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we do have a new warrior epic dragon minion, the Tent Thrasher. It's a 5-mana 5/5 with rush. Costs 1 less for each friendly minion type. For each friendly minion with a unique minion type. So if you have a pirate, a dragon, a mech, and something else, you could play this for 1 mana. Or if you have 3, you could play it for 2 mana.
Yeah, in the teaser, if I'm not mistaken, this was Ali Straza's card. Really cheesy video. You should check it out. It's very funny. She dresses up like a dragon and trashes a tent. Literally, a tent in her backyard. She trashes it and throws it to her trash can. It's hilarious. But the teaser video was they played N'Zoth. It summoned 5 minions. They played Tent Trasher, traded into a 10/10 with Taunt, played another Tent Trasher for free, traded into a 10/10 with Taunt. That's a
stretch.
Curated scenario. But I mean, in a lot of cases, this is going to be a 3, maybe even 2 costed 5/5 with rush, and that's just good.
Yeah.
in a deck that's going to play a menagerie style build.
Right.
Again, I want to say in these menagerie style N'Zoth builds, we might see them really strong in Wild.
Yes.
Because they have a lot of the menagerie buff cards.
Yeah.
And that'll be really interesting.
All right. And our last card for this review this week is
the only
neutral epic minion. It's Horrendous Growth. It's a 2-mana 2/2. Corrupt. Gain +1/+1. Can be corrupted endlessly.
Yeah.
So as long as you're holding this 2-mana minion in your hand, every card you play that costs more than 2 is going to give this +1/+1 until, say, on turn 10 when you play a 2-mana 8/8 or something.
Yeah, and the old god that deals with corrupt, is that Yasharj?
I believe so.
I'm looking really quick. Yeah, Yasharj. Add a copy of each corrupted card you played this game to your hand. They cost 0 this turn. So when you play this, if it's like a 12/12, when you play Yasharj, you will get the 12/12 version of it because that's the card you played.
Okay, yeah.
You won't get just one corrupt on it. It gives you the version of the corrupted card you played. And a lot of people kind of akin this to a questing adventurer that buffs while it's in your hand.
Yes.
So
that they can't get rid of unless they have some way to remove it from your hand.
So obviously, I mean, it's a 2-mana card, but I mean, we've seen what is it? The Argent Braggart. 2 mana, and he's like an 18/18 or a 12/12, and people don't like that. The difference is you can silence the Argent Braggart, and it will become a 1/1. You can't silence this. The corrupted effect is not a silenceable effect. If you play it and it's a 20/20 and they silence it, it stays a 20/20 because it's its base stats.
Gotcha.
So this is, I mean, we don't know where Corrupt's going yet. They haven't given us any clear lane of what classes want Corrupt. But this is a neutral way to include Corrupt in anything and make it strong.
Okay.
Obviously, do you want a 2-mana card sitting in your hand 4, 5, 6, maybe more turns? Not always, but in a Corrupt style deck, it's promoting an off-curve style of play. Maybe you do.
Yeah. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for episode 244 of Hero Power. We will be back next week, hopefully with
all the rest of the cards.
The rest of the cards, yes. The
final drop is on a stream on the 11th.
Yes.
And then the patch on the 12th will introduce the new progression system, and it will have all the cards. It will put all the cards in the files. I love that they're doing like pre-patches on Thursdays, and then on Tuesday you don't have to worry about like a big patch coming out and server lag and all this stuff because it was done ahead of time.
Right.
The patch is just earmarked that on that date at that time, click, the cards can be played now.
Yeah. Now, it is important to note there is a scheduled maintenance Tuesday, November the 10th, starting at 7 a.m. Pacific. So that'll be 8, 9, 10 a.m. Eastern until noon Eastern, or 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific. The game, Hearthstone, will be unavailable at that time. So,
and I do want to, talking about the 10th, give a quick personal shout out. I want to give a shout out to the Marine Corps. We have our birthday on the 10th of November, and my wife got me a wonderful Marine Corps birthday present. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
A big shout out to her. So Semper Fi, all you knuckleheads out there, and enjoy the Marine Corps' birthday on the 10th. So that'll be nice.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join us in our preset discussions, you can join our patron-only Discord over at patreon.com/heropower. For as little as $1 a month, you can also join us in our Discord where we are chatting about these cards and their potential future uses every single day. So,
oh yeah,
check us out there. And if not, we'll see you all again next week.
and don't forget to use your hero power. Ooh, I want a corrupted hero power.
Ooh.